Everyone I mind, and this is set number 71427, Larry and Morton's Airships expansion set from the LEGO Super Mario theme. This set contains 1,062 pieces, 3 buildable LEGO Super Mario characters, and it retails for $79.99 in the US, as well as $84.99 in most places in Europe. This set was sent to me for review by the LEGO Group through the LEGO Ambassador Network, but all opinions expressed in this video are my own. If you want to see more LEGO Mario reviews on the channel, make sure to leave a like on this video and let me know in the comments which sets you want to see reviewed. There is already a few reviews of some of the other August sets up right now on the channel, but now let's get into this review. So when this set was revealed, I saw a lot of dislike for it online, which was kind of surprising to me, because these are very similar to the Bowser's Airship set that came out a couple years ago, and that's one of my favorite LEGO Super Mario sets of all time, and I thought that was the general consensus, was that one was pretty good. And this set's basically just two smaller versions of that set for different characters, and I think these actually complement that set really well. But yeah, it didn't seem super popular online, but I have to say, having this all built up, I mean, yeah, I still like it. This set's genuinely quite good in my opinion. Before we take a look at the airships themselves though, we're actually going to start this video off a little bit differently. I want to take a look at the characters that come in this set, because I think they're important to look at first to compare them to the actual airships. So starting off, we have one of the two Koopalings in this set, Larry. And Larry's a bit weird because he is actually a re-release. He did come in one set previously, and that happens with Mario characters all the time, but I believe this is the first of the Koopalings to be re-released. And that's a little bit disappointing because we're only missing one Koopaling just overall, so I would have preferred if we got that one instead of a re-release of Larry. But I mean, if you missed out on the first way to get Larry, he is a good figure. I do like him. I especially love the printed stars on the sides of his head. Getting the shell piece in Dark Azure is quite nice, and then he just uses like the standard Koopaling body. Obviously printed mouthpiece, nice little printed eyepiece there, and he has a scepter as an accessory. Of course, each of his individual arms can be moved, and as you just saw, he does have a barcode on his back, so if you have one of your LEGO Super Mario characters stomp on him, it takes a few hits to defeat, but then you get a bunch of coins because, of course, he is considered a boss character, so it definitely could be a fun one to integrate into your courses. But then the other Koopaling in this set is Morton, and he is all new for this set, and he's a little bit bigger than Larry, and as such, I like him a lot more. He also uses the standard Koopa shell piece, though this time in black, and the design for his legs and everything is kind of similar to the way that they've done like Bowser in the past. There's new printed parts for his belly, his mouth, and his eyes, and I like the way that star in his face continues from one brick to the other, but it still feels smooth. His arms connect onto his body with mini ball joints, so there's actually a pretty good range of motion there, much bigger than some other LEGO Super Mario characters. And you can see he's got two different accessories, a scepter and a little hammer. These just attach with a little anti-stud right here, and I'm not the biggest fan of that connection. It just feels very loose, it's very easy to accidentally knock off. That can be very easily fixed just by adding on like a stud with a hole in the middle, but it would have been nice if the set came like that by default. And you can see the scepter is the exact same build as Larry's, though with a trans red stud at the top instead of trans orange. I also like to use the black Wolverine claw up here to be like a little hair. And then now let's take a look at the gameplay functionality. So once again, you can have your character come over, stomp on his shell, once again, he's considered a boss character, so he takes quite a few hits to defeat, but then you get a bunch of coins for doing so. And then the final character for this set is a Pirate Goomba, and this is another re-release from the original Bowser's Airship. But it is cool to have another way to get this guy, so you can see it's just a standard Goomba with a pirate hat on his head. That has like the red Bowser logo on it, which I think looks great, but it just sort of sits loosely on the top of his head and can be very easily removed, or knocked off by a player character. And that, of course, reveals the barcode on the top of his head, and if you stomp on him, you get a single coin. There's just an angry expression on the Goomba, and he's of course got the little walking feet. Don't have too much else to say on him. But now let's take a look at the actual airships. So we'll start with this one right here, Larry's airship. And you can see, of course, it's got a giant brick-built version of his face at the front. This is a super cute design, and I think it looks fantastic. It's in a larger scale than the actual Larry figure is, so as such, they're able to capture the shape a lot better than the figure can, and it feels closer to his appearance in the Mario games. I think his mohawk especially looks a lot better. Not that the figure one's bad by any means, but there's just so much more texture to this one. However, you can see it actually uses the exact same eyepiece. The print's identical between those two, though the ship has like these brick-built cheeks and this much larger mouth. There's a little spiked collar surrounding his head just like he has in the games, and then we get to the actual main body of the airship. You can see the main mast of the ship is built on top of this blue shell right here, and that's entirely brick-built. There's no like exclusive molded parts or anything, but of course that's meant to match the color of Larry's actual shell. This piece right here could spin, I guess, to be a little propeller, and there is a crow's nest up here for like figures to look out. However, it's too small for any figure to really fit. Even like the Goomba in this set's too big. Of course, Larry himself's too big, and any of your Mario characters are certainly too big. But if you do have a regular minifigure from another set, those can definitely fit in there. There is a little play feature with this too. You can see there's this anchor hanging out the side here, and you can drop that out or reel it in just by spinning the mast at the center. So that's me pulling it back in, or I can reverse it, and that'll just drop that chain out. So that way you can have the ship actually anchor onto something. Next to that, there's these yellow platforms, which are the perfect size for a Mario figure to stand on. However, they are hanging off the edge a little bit as if they're walking the plank. And beneath them, there's actually these cannons, which are a really interesting part. I've never seen that piece before. I believe it's all new for this set, though I'm not positive on that. But yeah, it's kind of like a micro-scale version of the Mario warp pipe, but of course in yellow instead of the standard green. I'm very curious if these were designed to be cannons for this set, or if they were made for something else and just repurposed here. If you guys have any theories about this part, let me know in the comments, because it's definitely very interesting to think about. And then finally at the very back of the ship, there are some printed parts with this little design right here. You get one of those on each side, and I think that's fantastic. Totally unnecessary, but it really adds a lot to the overall build. They also use bright green as the main color, which I think is beautiful. It is the color that's used for Larry's head, but I don't know, standard green's used so often. Whenever we see bright green, it's such a breath of fresh air. There's also a little propeller back here to move the ship forward, and finally a place for the captain of the ship to sit. So you can have Larry in here actually piloting the ship, and there's how that looks. But you can see, of course, there is a barcode there, so you can have your Lego Mario character stand on it. And when you do, it'll start playing some music, and it'll actually allow you to fly the ship, and as you fly it around, you'll actually get some coins. So let me demonstrate that for you. And that's about all there is to Larry's airship, but honestly I think it's really cute. I'm quite happy with it. No complaints from me. And now moving on to the other main build of the set, here is Morton's airship. And you can see it's got a very similar design aesthetics, the cannons on the side, the face at the front, but the entire thing's just a lot bigger. It's much bulkier on the bottom. There's a lot more to Morton's face at the front, and unlike Larry, it actually doesn't reuse the face from his figure. You can see the eyes on this one are a 2x4 tile, while on his figure it's a 1x3 brick. So it is actually quite cool to have two different versions of that print. And I think the rest of the face looks fantastic too. I like how the mouth's actually open a little bit and you can see his tongue, and that sort of collar or necklace continues all the way around. And just like the figure, he still has the Wolverine claws, the tuft of hair at the top. But yeah, this is perfect. I don't think that could be improved at all. This ship also uses those same cannons on the side, though this time there's a total of 4 of them, 2 on each side. There's a crow's nest coming out of a shell in the back, and it's the same exact design, though this one's not able to spin and drop an anchor like the other one can. And then the build of the actual shell does use the Bowser shell piece, which is a slightly more uncommon part. I believe it's only ever come with Bowser figures. So it's cool to see that in another set, but it's not like it's an exclusive recolor or anything, because the only part that's Bowser's shell is that white bit at the bottom. All the black parts are just standard bricks, so it's really nothing new. The back of the ship here I don't think is as pretty, however I do like these lanterns hanging down, and the use of like the ice cream pieces adds some nice texture. Once again, another little propeller back here, and in the area for the ship to be piloted, there's 2 different printed parts. We have a compass and a little clock. Now once again, you have 2 different options for how to pilot the ship. You can attach Morton onto this piece right here and he slides in perfectly. You can see that piece fits right into that arch under his legs. And there's how he looks piloting the ship. But of course, alternatively, there is a barcode there for you to scan with your Mario character. So we take Luigi here, scan it, plays the same music, and I assume does the same thing. Yep, you fly it around, you get some coins. Definitely fun to do, but probably gets a little stale pretty fast. However, that's not everything for the ship, because there is a little bit more here, and that's actually hidden away inside. So you can actually remove this giant shell at the top, there's how the bottom of that looks, and then you can pull the ship open. And when it's opened up, this is meant to integrate a little bit better into the whole course builder system. So the set also comes with this, a few yellow platforms, and you can just attach that under this lip right here, and here's a little bit of course all put together. So you'd have the Goomba at the front for your character to defeat. Then you come to this platform in the back right here, stand your character like this, and then pulling the character forward. That'll move that platform out, and actually cause Morton to tumble back, allowing him to be properly defeated. So now let me demonstrate that. There he goes, he falls off. And now the airship's free to pilot if you want, and Morton's over here on the ground for you to defeat. There we go, we did it. So I actually quite like that, and I wish more of the Mario sets did this, where it's like the course builder aspect is there, and it's definitely fun if you want to build your own course, but there's a lot more value to the set beyond just the course builder, and you don't have to have the entire course put together if you want. Because yeah, I much prefer these as airships, but I have to admit, this play functionality is pretty good. And then aesthetically in here, it's nothing too crazy. You got some candles, got some banners, but not too much going on. And then finally, if you're curious, here's a look at the full LEGO Super Mario airship fleet. We have the Bowser's airship that came out back in 2021, and the 2 all-new airships that we just looked at. You can see, of course, the new ones are significantly smaller than the old one. That was a $100 set, I believe, so getting both of these for 80 as opposed to that for 100, that feels about right to me. But now let's get into my overall thoughts of this set. So what are my overall thoughts? Honestly, I think this set's really good. Starting off with the price per part immediately looks quite good. 1,000 pieces for only $80. Now I will say a lot of those pieces are quite small, and the builds themselves do feel a little small, but considering you do get 2 of them here, $80 feels like the right price for the size of these builds, and the piece count indicates that this should be 100. good. So I think $80 for this is perfectly fair. These are some of the best looking LEGO Mario sets in my opinion. They're some of the few sets that actually look good on a shelf. They're not forced to be always course builder. However, if you are someone who's a huge fan of the course builder system, I will say the course builder aspects are a little bit weak here. Now personally to me that doesn't matter too much, but yeah, as you saw the actual course is very tiny here. It is fun what you do get, but maybe a little bit underwhelming. I also would have liked maybe 1 or 2 more characters here, and I especially would have liked an all new Koopaling over Larry, but I don't know, all things considered, for what this set is, I think it's actually pretty great and I would highly recommend it if it's the kind of thing you're interested in. If you're a LEGO Mario fan who doesn't care about the course builder system but just really wants good looking Mario sets, I think this is honestly a good one to consider, especially if you already have the Bowser's Airship set. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let me know in the comments if you want to see any more LEGO Super Mario reviews. But as for this video, I think that's about all I have to say, so thanks for watching everybody, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!